It's just the different type of company, because Yamaha's great at what they do, they really are. I mean, I've been with it for 25 years. But it's a different kind of company. Obviously, Chagall's much smaller, and they do a lot of handmade instruments, and so we were able to muck around and try stuff, and I said, could you build me a bass trumpet? Like this, and they said yes, and I said, could you move this here and do that? And they're the sort of things you can't really do with a very large company. They make them a certain way. You can design things, but you can't have complete freedom. And with Chagall I can. So, and I think at this stage of my career it's probably a nice time to try some stuff. So in fact I'm going there in a couple of days and picking up a new trumpet that they've been working on for the last year. Which is an idea I've had for a while. It's a bit crazy, but I want to see if it works. It's a rotary trumpet, but the valves are down here in a triangle and it has a really long lead pipe, because I think the length of the lead pipe has a lot to do with the power of the instrument. And rotary trumpets always have the rotors up here and the lead pipe's that long. And a piston trumpet has a lead pipe 4 times the length of most rotary trumpets, which is why I think piston trumpets sound the way they do, but I like the articulation of a rotary. So we're messing around and going to try and make a rotor trumpet that has the articulation of rotors, the power of a piston, or even more, and a couple of other things. So that kind of fun stuff, you know, is something you need to be with a company like Chagall to do. So that's what I'm doing. Anyway, that's what I'm playing, Chagall, and that's a prototype trombone we're trying, which is, I'm enjoying it. We're going to still do some things to it too. They've got another one ready to try. But, I figure, you know, trombones have a valve on them, right? And bass trombones have 2. Why can't you have 3? And so we're making a trombone with 3 valves. And then moving them down so that you can play them with the left hand like this, so that you can have valve. And I know there's a thing called, Holden made a thing called the Superbone that had piston valves on it. But it had some problems. It was never that popular. But I think 3 rotors set up the right way could be really exciting, because imagine what you could do with the slide and valves at the same time. You could get really confused. The reason I'm showing you this, because I know a lot of you in this room practice. Some of you might, anyway. But I want to just give you maybe a different perspective for a moment on your practice. I sat in a room with the horn like this. I thought, okay, so I'm going to practice. What will I do? And I couldn't really think of anything, so I started playing some songs, but I thought, well, I'm just jamming. I'm not practicing. I'm playing. And I thought practicing should be more, you know, somehow, I didn't really know, regimented or something. And after a while I just started laughing. I got the giggles. I thought, this is just silly. Firstly, there's no one here to hear it but me. So what's the point in playing? And secondly, I'm trying to take the music, because I kept playing songs. I go, no, that's not practice, I have to practice. And I thought, hang on a sec, I'm sitting here trying to take music and make it unmusical. You know, I thought, that's ridiculous, I'm not going to do this, so I packed up. I tried it again a few years later and it was no better. Here's the thing. I understand, of course, the concept of there's something I can't play yet. So I need to go and sit in a room on my own and do it many times. Repetition is the mother of skill, right? And do it many times until I can. And then I come out and then I do it again in front of everyone else and it sounds good. That's practice, right? It's just for me, the idea that there's something that I can't play yet, that I'm going to go and work out, is it's a function of being a jazz player mostly. And even when I wasn't playing jazz, and I perform with orchestras all the time, and I do some classical work, when I need to learn a classical piece, I get a recording of it. Have a listen, just like I did with the brass band. Go, how does that go? Okay, and play it. It's like a jazz piece. It's a different style. I don't play it and bend notes and do all that. I play it with the classical sound. Why? Because I heard the classical sound. I hear what it should sound like. So the idea to go and practice it doesn't really come up, because it's all playing like that. It's all playing. And I've had the opportunity, and it's a blessing. I've had the opportunity most of my life to have great musicians to play with, or places to play, and people to play too, every day. And so to sit in a room on my own and play, I don't want to hear it. I mean, on my own, I know what it's going to sound like, obviously. If I hadn't heard it already, how would it come out? So if I wanted to hear some nice trumpet music, I just sit there. I don't need a trumpet or a trombone. And what this means is, and the only reason I tell you all this is now, how does it apply to you? Otherwise it's just a story about some weirdo. Is this. Sometimes practice in the traditional sense is necessary, but not as often as we think it is. I think we spend, as musicians, we collectively spend too much time making practice out of things that could be playing. I think if you have to do some practice, okay. But I wouldn't do 1 second more than you need to, because what's it for? It's so you can play. I know one guy, I've only met one person in my whole life who practiced for practice. It wasn't to play. He loved practicing, and that was the end. It wasn't a means to an end. That was what it was all about. It was about the practice. He loved it. He practiced 8 hours a day, and I don't mean everyone says 8 hours a day as just a figure. I mean literally. I know, because I had the hotel room next to him. 8 hours a day. And he loved it. And I talked to him about it, and I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, I love it. I just go off into a world, I'm practicing, and I just love it. And I said, but you can already play all that stuff. And he said, I'm not practicing to be a better player. I'm practicing because I like it. I said, okay. And I stayed away from him after that. But seriously, if you practice to get better or to learn something, fair enough. But I think sometimes we miss the opportunity to play to do that. Why would it matter? You might say, what does it matter? I think it matters in this way. At the end of the day, what's music for? Never mind what practice is for. Music is to communicate, right? You're not communicating with anyone much when you're in a room on your own, for a start. Okay, you need an audience, or at least other people in a band to communicate with, to convey it's for, I think. I think that's not only what it's for, I think that's what it is. Without that, it's not music, it's just sound. And sound that's not music is noise. What makes a noise music is when you convey something with it. If I slam that door, it's just a noise. But if we've got a funky thing happening here and I go and slam the door and I have an intention with that, it's now musical. You know what I mean? It becomes an instrument. You can make noise with a trombone. I've heard it. It's when you play with no intention, no emotion. I'm not doing this for any other reason, just to make the sound. That's a noise. But I've heard people just squeak on a saxophone or just blow air through an instrument, but with an intention, with an emotion. That's music. So, if that's what music is, and that's what it's for, then all the practice is just getting ready to do that. Because I assume while you're practicing on your own, there's not a whole lot of, conveying emotion to anyone going on. And for me, by chance, by spending my whole life, whenever I'm out of the case and play it, or this or any other instrument, it's always because I've got something to say or something to feel. And I never have to go, oh, hang on, this is just practice, because I don't. So for me, it's automatic. As soon as I sit at an instrument, as soon as I make a sound, I feel like I'm conveying something, I'm experiencing something always. And that makes it really easy to do. And hence all sorts of things are not a problem, that sometimes are common problems for people who don't play that way. Things like being nervous or anything like that ever in performance, that can't happen. Because the only time I ever play is to convey emotion and it's joyous. Even the idea of getting nervous doesn't make sense. Whereas if you've been saying, I'm going to get ready, I'm going to get ready, I'm going to get ready, okay, now I'm going to do it. I'm nervous. You know what I mean? And so there's that. So what I would suggest is, and it's the same with warm-ups, I treat them the same way. Some people need to warm up, some people need to warm up longer, shorter. Warm-up's a good idea. But I think I hear a lot of warm-ups and see a lot of people warming up where they believe that they need this incredible warm-up and actually don't. And that's okay if it doesn't bug you. If you say, oh no, I've got heaps of time, I like to warm up, great. A lot of people, I've seen situations where there's not time, we've flown in, we got to the gig, there's a traffic jam, we get there, I haven't had time for my warm-up, and I go, well, don't do it. They're like, how will we play? So I got asked this, I was with a very, very good brass band, a national band in New Zealand, and they were great players. And I did some clinics, and I talked about warm-ups. I got asked, and I said, about warm-ups. And they said to me, the guys from the band came to me, because I did some clinics with the public, and they were listening, and they said, we've watched you every night now, and you've never warmed up. You've never even played a single note before you go on stage. How do you do that? And I said, well, just play. I mean, there's no trick to it. We played yesterday. I mean, how cold can I be? But they said, I said to them, you don't need to warm up. They said, yeah, we need to warm up. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll answer your question in 3 days' time. And for the next 3 days, I hung around in the band room before the gig, listening to their warm-ups. And I really listened to everybody. And then I got them together and I said, okay, here's the answer to your question. I've been listening to your warm-ups for 3 days. No one's played a wrong note yet. True. They go, oh, it's perfect. It's all perfect. No one made a mistake in their warm-up. So what are they warming up for? They could already play. It could have been a performance. If warm-ups sounded like this, and it was all bad, and it gradually got better over the next 10 minutes, I'd say, you need a 10-minute warm-up. But no one played badly at the beginning of their warm-up. I couldn't work out why they bothered. Now I said, sure, maybe you just need to get your muscles going. I know about, you stretch before you go running so you don't hurt yourself. Maybe, if it's a tough piece to start, you need to... Sure, how long does that take? I asked a physiologist. He said about 60 seconds. Okay, for any muscle in your body to be ready to go, about 60 seconds if you start working it. So no one needs to warm up longer than 60 seconds. Physically, mentally, you could need an hour. Okay, and that's where I come to. That's up to you. You can decide what you want. If you've convinced yourself you need a half an hour warm up, you do. I'm not being facetious. You actually do. If you're convinced, then you actually need it. And you probably will play badly if you don't have it. Why don't you convince yourself you only need 10 minutes? Save 20 minutes every time you play. Unless you really like warming up, and that's fine. But guys have asked me, how can I shorten my warm up? If you actually want to shorten it, that's how. It takes 60 seconds to get your muscles ready, apparently. Your mind, I do huge warm-ups. I'm warming up now for tonight. I'm aware that I'm playing tonight. If you said to me, tonight's concert is cancelled, let's go and see a movie, I would feel different all day. I'm not kind of getting ready to play. And I don't know what I'm doing to get ready, I can just feel it. Tonight there's going to be a concert and you start doing like this and you get more and more on. And by the time it comes, you just walk out there and go. So I'm doing a long warm-up. I just don't use the instrument to do it because it's less offensive to the people in the next room. But anyway, that's the same with the warm-up, that's the same with the practice. It's all of that. A certain amount of either may be necessary. All I would comment is that from what I've observed, and it's only my observation, it seems like there's maybe a lot of warming up and practicing and things going on that could be just playing. And the advantage of that, again from my point of view, is the more percentage of the time I spend playing. Think about it. If you played 10 hours with your instrument this week, how much of it was practice and how much was performance? A lot of people, it's 9 hours of practice and 1 hour of performance. And if I said, let's play soccer, we'll spend 9 hours doing up our laces and 1 hour playing the game, who'd want to do it? Seriously. So for me, it would be 9 hours and 45 minutes of playing, of making music, of being emotional, and 15 minutes of checking the valves work and blowing a couple of notes to see there's nothing stuck in the horn and whatever. Because I have to do that now. I used to go on without playing a note, but the guitarist in my band filled my mouthpiece shank with minced garlic. Right. So ever since that, I always play a couple of minutes before I go on. And the other time I went on with the piccolo trumpet and one of the valves was reversed. That was embarrassing too. So I always just check now that they're working. But other than that, yeah. I should say at this point, because I know warm-ups, practice, a lot of this stuff, people have things they really believe in ways they want to do anything. Anything I say today, of course, is just my opinion. I'm just telling you how it works for me. Like I said, some of the best players I know do things really differently, and it works. So whatever works. Everything I say today is just like, in case you were interested, how I do it. Yeah. I don't think there is a right way. And I don't think there's certainly not a wrong way. Yeah.
You speak about having this kind of focus for the evening, and yet you seem pretty relaxed. So.
But that's how I'm going to be tonight.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, how do you foster that? Have you fostered that relaxed focus?
The way I am now, I'm talking to you, sort of putting forward ideas and trying to engage you, and we're having a few laughs and everything. That's what it'll be like on stage tonight. I'm already ready. And that relaxed feeling is because of why we play. So a lot of the time you walk on stage, you think about what you're going to play, like what will I play, or how will I play it, even worse. If you start thinking how you're going to do it, it's not going to be a good night. If you're thinking what you're going to play, it could be okay. I never think of either. I just think of why. Why am I going to play? How I do it and what I do, it's not that important. Why would you play music in the first place? And think about this, you've had this feeling. You've all had this feeling. Do you know that feeling when you've got some great news? You know something that other people don't. Maybe your friends, your family, whatever, your colleagues in the band. You've just heard that the gig you were trying to get or the tour you were hoping to do is on. They've told you, yeah, tell them it's all on, you're going. But the rest of the band don't know yet. So you go down to rehearsal to tell them, how do you feel? You know that feeling of expectation? Wait till I hear this. Wait till I tell them this. As you walk in, on your way down to the rehearsal room, and you're all the people I'm going to tell the news, guess what? It's on. We're all going to go to Australia. If I'm approaching, am I thinking, now how will I say it? Will I say, guess what? No, that's everyone says that. Let me think of something better. I want to come in and say, you're never going to believe this. No, please will. That's not correct. And then I say, now when I walk in, I should probably wait till I get to the middle of the room before I speak, so I have a commanding position. I mean, what a lot of nonsense. You don't think about how you're going to say it. You think about what you're going to say. Not much. It's just the news. It's about the news, that's all. And do you think I must project my voice so I make sure everyone hears me? No. You just walk in and you say, guess what? You're not going to believe this. They said yes, we're all going, everyone goes, fantastic, and it's this amazing feeling you've just conveyed to them. If we got someone who was a great actor to watch you and analyse it, they'd say, yes, it was great. As he walked in, he moved to the middle of the room and took a commanding position. He used his diaphragm and projected his voice. He enunciated clearly, and so on. And you would. Nobody comes in with news like that and goes, we got the tour. Nobody does that. And it's the same with the music. No one gets nervous. You get nervous? I want to go and tell everyone that we're going on tour, but I'm a bit nervous. What if I stumble? What if I use one of the wrong words? What if I mean, who cares? It's not about how you say it. It's about what you're saying. So tonight when I go and play, I don't even know what we're going to play yet. I've got to get together with the guys this afternoon. They might give me some charts I can't read or something. I don't know. I don't really care. I know they're great musicians. I know I can play. I know we're going to make music. I know the crowd are going to love it. That's all. The other stuff will work out. What I'm getting at is it's about the news. And the news is, and this is what I feel every time I walk on stage. I felt it last night. I'll feel it tonight. I feel this. Wait till they hear this. Yeah. That's what I feel like. Wait till they hear this. Oh boy, have I got some news for you. That's what I'm thinking. Now, how could you get nervous? You just couldn't get nervous when you've got news. So you're coming on going, I'm going to play. I'm going to start on a high C. I may miss it. Now I'm nervous. I miss lots of notes. And it's not that I don't care, I want to play well. But only because it serves the purpose. And if the purpose is served, then whatever I played, I played. You ever heard Miles Davis play the trumpet? You miss about every fourth note. It sounds great. Yeah, so, that's how I am getting ready and how I'm relaxed. I mean, I'm relaxed is probably not the right word. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's like holidays start tonight. Yes?
Which instrument couldn't you play?
Which instrument can't I play?
Yeah.
Oh, lots. Yeah.
Tried, but...
I'll try? No. But I can't play the oboe. I've never even held one. I'm sure it would take a while to work that out. I tried a bassoon recently. I was just somewhere, I didn't mean to take up the bassoon, but it was just, there was this orchestra rehearsal going on and they were missing one bassoon player and I was standing around. And it was just a rehearsal, and I said, do you mind if I just sit in next to in the empty chair and watch the bassoon player? I'd find that interesting. And they said, sure. And there was a spare bassoon there. And the bassoon player said to me, do you want to use my other bassoon and play? And I said, well, I've never played one, but yeah, why not? I'll watch you. And I just quickly, we had time, they were setting up, I said, show me where the basic notes are. And there's 13 thumb holes. You have to have 13, that's mad. And I've seen them play, you stick it in here like this and blow. And so I had a go, it was great fun. What a fantastic sound. But if I wanted to actually play the bassoon, like I said, okay, so use the bassoon tonight on the concert. You need a bit of time to get to know it. So you're not thinking about the horn, and you can just think about the music. And the level of what I could play would be less than what I could do on the trumpet and the trombone. That doesn't mean the music would be less, right? I just wouldn't use as many notes or as much virtuosity to say it. But I mean, anyone who's heard B.B. King play the guitar knows you don't have to have a whole lot of virtuosity to say it. He doesn't play anything fast, anything. I've talked with him about this. We toured together. And he got asked in a clinic, this is a great question, it's worth telling you. It's something really good to think about. Someone in the clinic said to him, how have you resisted playing too much? This was a young guitarist. He said, I want to play bluesy and soulful, but I just keep taking off and playing too many notes and overplaying. How do you resist it? And B.B., I won't tell the whole story because I haven't got time, but B.B. told this story about a fox in a forest that wanted some grapes. And a monkey was eating them and it smelled great. And he said, pass me some grapes, they smell great. And the monkey said, you want them? You get them yourself. Because he knew he was safe up in the tree. And the fox said, no, they're probably sour anyway. Meaning, I can't get them, so I don't want them. And what he meant was, that's all I can play. It doesn't matter. That's what B.B. actually said. So yeah, you don't have to, I could make some music on a bassoon. But I'd want to play other things on it, spend some more time. But no, instruments, remember, just zoom out until they all look the same. Doesn't mean I can pick up an oboe this afternoon and play it, but it won't take that long. I mean, it's a wind instrument, it's got holes on it and a breed. I mean, how hard can it be, you know? Seriously, we complicate things more than we need to. As long as you've got a sound. You know, the first thing I'd do if you said learn the bassoon tonight, I'd race out of here right now and get on the net and download some great bassoon soloists and listen to them. I wouldn't even pick up the instrument. I'd spend a concert tonight, the first 2 hours I'd spend just listening to bassoon. Then I'd pick it up. Just get this great sound in your head, so you know what you're aiming for. Yeah, so I don't play any double reeds. I don't play strums. That's just a practical thing. My brother is a drummer, and we grew up together playing in bands. He was always on the drums. You only have one drummer in a band, at least you should. So, so I just played everything else. You know, he was always in the band. So, yeah. But what I do play is play the brass. You know, anything brass. And saxophones, piano, and double bass. A few other bits and pieces. Whatever takes your fancy.
For improvisation, do you have a preconception for the concert? Last night, for example, a lot of your improvisation was in the stratospheric register on all three instruments. Was that deliberate, or was that just the zone you were in last night?
Just how I felt. Yeah, there was a sort of a feeling of that in the air. And the pieces lent themselves to it. And yeah, also maybe if I analyse it, I didn't at the time, but if I analyse it now, I was really tired. I was on Australian time, I'd just flown in, so it was like 5 o'clock in the morning for me. You know, when you're tired, you kind of compensate for that by going, alright, we're going. You know, and you do something more energetic. You know, if you're really awake, you tend to slow down. So I'm awake tonight, I might play really low and soft. But I like it. You know, I like the sound of it. Now it's not a concept as such, but maybe it is if I analyse it. I just sort of play whatever I feel like at the time. It sounded good to me, so I did it. But you tend to use what you've got too. You know, if you can play those notes, you tend to because they sound good. Yeah, and improvisation is just like
finish your sentence.
I finished the sentence. I'm going to stop there. Improvisation, you know what, we all improvise all the time. You know, you've been improvising all day. I mean, unless all the conversations you've had with your friends today, you planned them last night. We improvise all the time. It's just being familiar with the language. Just what do you want to say? That's what, you know, if we had a conversation now, you just think, you don't think about how to say it, or will I speak like this, you know, will I play high, or you just start saying what you want to say, and as you go, I might raise my voice halfway through the sentence if I need to, you know. Thank you, it's been great.